Break out the Kleenex. It's getting sad.
Today on the show.
Good morning, scallywags. So today, it's going to be a challenge to keep things peppy and fun because we're talking sad stuff.
Not just sad stuff, but the saddest stuff from our childhood.
Saddest in the saddest of places. Basically, we're talking cartoons or kids shows that kind of went to a dark place for an episode, or at least a bit of an episode.
Yeah. These are our top 10 saddest moments from our childhood TV shows growing up.
That's right. And there's a lot of them. This list could have gone way longer than it has. I mean, Steven Universe alone has several. There's that Captain Planet episode where the kid dies. They straight up killed a kid on there.
Charlie Brown they both liked the kid with cancer, and she was bullied. There was all kinds of episodes we just left out.
Well, so we've just narrowed it down to 10. And these are really not much in any particular order except for the last one that we're saving for last for a reason.
But it's for a reason.
So kicking things off at number 10 is the Baby Doll episode from Batman, the animated series.
I forget which season that was, but it was, she had a genetic condition to where she couldn't ever age. So even though she was in her, 40s or 50s?
Something like 30s, 40s.
She looked like she was 4.
Yeah. Of course, though, she turns and she actually ends up kidnapping she was on a TV show as a child where she had a catchphrase and all that fun stuff, as they did back then. She ends up kidnapping all of her co-hosts, and in the end, Batman kind of basically puts her in like a house of fun mirrors where she sees herself grown up and kind of has to face all of it, and
that's when she breaks
down. It's really
basically depressing. Pretty much what she did was Batman was the reality she kept trying to avoid by going back and trying to reclaim her youth. And we're going to stay with Justice League with number 9.
And the Bruce Timm cartoons, and these are, so you got Batman the Animated Series, you got Superman,
all the
New
Justice
Adventures
League,
of Batman, Robin, Justice League Unlimited. They were kind of the first ones to really, really push the envelope. Yeah,
they touched on a lot of topics that was really, really dark for their time, but really adult.
But they did it in a very heartfelt way. And so jumping forward to Justice League Unlimited, and an episode that was called "The Man Who Has Everything."
Yeah, Superman's birthday episode.
This one
you had the big three
in
DC.
This was heartbreaking.
This was rough to watch, and I've even gone back now as an adult, and I own the entire Justice League series on DVD. And watching it is still rough.
Mm-hmm.
In a nutshell, Mongol gives. And if you know who Mongol is the purveyor of War World. That's hard to say. And he gives the Black Mercy, and it's a plant that basically draws sustenance from the euphoria and the good feelings that it is imparting upon as it kills its host. So Mongol gives it to Superman. So what does Superman see?
He sees a Krypton that never exploded. He sees his family, not just his parents, but his wife, his child, living a perfect life on Krypton.
Pancakes and breakfast and going to the farm.
Yeah, and meanwhile you got Batman and Wonder Woman trying to fight off Mongol this whole time and trying to figure out, what's going on with Superman. And, basically, what it boils down to in the end, Superman finally comes to the realization that this isn't real. And
that was wrenching, watching him do that.
Actually has to have a conversation with his child, telling his child to his face, "You're not real, and I have to get out of here. You don't exist. This place doesn't exist."
Yep.
And God, just seeing tears come up in the child's face.
I can still see it very prominently in my mind watching it.
Just imagine your father coming to you and telling you, "You're not real.
You're not real.
And I'm leaving here because you're not real. This place isn't real. None of this is real. And
I've got other things I have to go do that are more important than you."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And just knowing that he didn't want to leave. He just knew, if I don't leave, I'm gonna die too, and that's certainly not helping anybody. So for the greater good, he sacrifices his utopia.
Once again, we know why he's Superman.
Yeah. And then he beats the ever-living crap out of Mongol.
And to the fact that he actually gives Mongol back the Black Mercy.
Yeah.
At the very end, you see Mongol's twisted, scary smile. So I wonder, they never extrapolated but what was he seeing? Yeah. Coming in at number 7, we have Futurama. Oh, this was another one of those episodes that
Futurama's had a few moments like this, but nothing this extreme. And if you've ever seen Futurama, you know the episode we're talking about.
It's called Jurassic Bork. Basically, Fry has a dog, and the dog is named Seymour. Yeah. And Seymour was the only thing that Fry ever thought truly loved him. Loved him to the point that after Fry got... Now, I can't remember, is this when Fry got cryogenically frozen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he just sat outside the pizza parlor and sat.
Until he died.
Never.
He literally waited for Fry to come back until he died. and so like what was it? So in the show's present day, they've now got it was a clone, wasn't it, or something to that effect?
Something like that.
And so he has to give him up again, and it's not until the very end of the episode that it shows what really happened, and it's gut wrenching. It's absolutely gut wrenching.
Look it up. It's on YouTube somewhere. It's got to be.
Yeah.
What is this? Number 6. Back from when we were young, Dinosaurs. Not the mama hitting the baby with the frying pan. Oh,
did you miss one?
No. The man is in Jurassic Park.
Changing. Yeah.
Episode called Changing Nature. In fact, it was the very
last
episode of Dinosaurs. Basically comes into a nutshell is Earl, who is the father, the main character in through all of this, although Baby was the funniest one, went back, his corporation that he had been doing poisoned all of the plant life.
Basically, there was a bug that typically migrates out for the season, and they weren't migrating out, so they end up poisoning all the plants as this insecticide, but it ends up killing all the plants. So basically, they come up with the plan of, to get the plants returned, we need rain. And to get rain, you need clouds. So they end up dropping all these bombs in these volcanoes to make clouds.
Yep. But,
of course, that ends up creating a giant ash cloud that covers the world and...
temperatures plummet.
Creates the Ice Age. And in the final scene, you've got the whole family sitting there and Earl realizing what he's done. And you've got the baby that, of course, has... been the snarky, just the comic relief of the entire show, and that is like, well, can't we just move?
No.
And Earl saying, well, there's nowhere to move to, and well, what's going to happen to us? And the camera just pans out the window as they basically
slowly freeze to death,
snuggle in for one final night together. And it's...
You do.
And that was the last thing we saw of this family-friendly, fun romp of an ABC show. And wow.
Wow. Yeah, it didn't end on a family fun.
We knew it was Dinosaurs, so it had to come to some kind of conclusive end eventually.
It did.
But wow.
Yeah, it raised it up to 10 real quick.
Yeah.
Here we go, number 5.
No, I actually never watched this show.
You've never watched Full Metal Alchemist. Well, let me tell you, it is an amazing show. But there is one particular moment that all Full Metal Alchemist fans know, without a doubt. It's on memes everywhere, and you're going to hear people yell and scream. It is an episode called The Alchemist's Suffering. In this, there is Shu Tucker. Shu Tucker is he's a state alchemist. Basically, he does things. Alchemists are like magicians. No, he's a magician. They do things to transmute. But in order for him to get more grant money, he has to do something. He has to prove himself. So he was making a chimera. Chimeras are a conglomeration of different creatures. Well, one evening, the two boys in Full Metal Alchemist leave after not finding any answers. They come back. The little girl, Nina, had made friends with the big suit. But when they came back the next day, she wasn't around. Shu comes out, says, everything's great, it's all fine, I made it. The boys come in to see his work of art, and there's a dog. The dog turns to Ed and to the metal suit and goes, Alphonse, and says, big brother. He had fused his own daughter with the family dog.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's. I'll pull up the YouTube video so you can see it later, so you can see it. But if you're a Full Metal Alchemist fan, there's no way we could leave that off.
And then to add on that, when you find out that not only has he done that to his daughter and the family dog, but years earlier he did something similar to his own wife.
Yep.
To get government
funding for his alchemical research. Yeah.
Wow.
This guy was the low life of it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still not as sad as May Hughes though.
No. Ever in your heart.
I need to watch this show.
It's a good anime. It really is. It's on Netflix.
Big on anime.
Number 4.
Now this one, there's a little bit of backstory with this one, and it is an episode called Betrayal from the original Teen Titans cartoon. Now, the season 3 was supposed to be the finale of the show, and they wrapped it up with a multi-episode story arc with Triton and Raven, that storyline and everything like that. And it wrapped it up. It wrapped everything up nicely.
Wrapped everything really nicely.
It would have been the perfect ending for the show. But then afterwards, they were like, "Okay, well, we've been approved for another season." They did another season that then, of course, ended on a cliffhanger, as most shows do. But then before they did the next season to wrap up that story, the show was canceled. So what we ended up with was just depressing.
It was utterly depressing.
Oh, God. Basically, it's a Terra episode. And
it's got Deathstroke in it.
Basically, Terra ends up getting her mind wiped, and so of course Beast Boy, being best friends with Terra, ends up kind of going into a blind rage. He attacks Deathstroke, big fight and everything there, and in the end he basically appears to her in her school, and she doesn't know who he is. And so he's trying to remind her, and he's always promised to be your friend, and she basically just kind of turns back and says she has no friends, and she kind of walks and fades into the crowd, and it just ends with Beast Boy just kind of standing there, heartbroken,
in tears. Yeah,
and that was it.
That was it. That was the entire end of the series.
It just, yeah.
Just wow.
The final shot actually shows Beast Boy in Terra's room, and he's curled up on her bed as a dog, and he had like this little heart-shaped box thing that he had made for her, and he's just laying there on the bed with this box, just heartbroken.
Yep.
And that's where it ended.
That's where it all ends. Yeah.
And then they come back with Teen Titans Go, and well, yeah. I hate that show.
Where did the rest of there it is? Number what are we at? Number 4? Number 4. Yeah. From Pokemon. Bye Bye Butterfree. This is one of those that you could kind of go either way, but it was from, I remember it kind of poignantly. Ash catches a Butterfree. They're on the way to Saffron City. They see a whole bunch of Butterfrees in the sky, and it's their baiting time. Brock lets them know. If you know who Brock is in the anime, in the cartoon, he's the no-eyed guy. And he tells them all that it's Butterfree's mating season, and Ash, feeling what Ash does, he lets his Butterfree go. Butterfree finds this awesome little pink Butterfree, and he basically just gets smacked down. And doesn't like her, or she doesn't like him. Goes on crying in a nearby forest. Team Rocket does its stuff. Butterfree shows how heroic and great he is to make the pink Butterfree fall in love again. And then into the sunset we see his Butterfree and the pink Butterfree flying off into the sunset.
And throughout the rest of the show's run, Butterfree never
returned. Nope.
So kind of a bittersweet one there,
Yeah.
but still kind of sad.
Yep.
Especially with the rejection and everything in the beginning, and then to just gone. And then what was it? I think it's even the same season, if I'm not mistaken. They kind of started to do the same thing with Pikachu.
Yeah, they later on they started to do the same thing.
But like 2 or 3 episodes later, Pikachu came back. But,
Yep.
But try to pull the same thing twice in an episode.
Yeah,
or twice in a
and
season.
honorable mention, third honorable mention is the Pokemon movie where Ash dies. If you haven't seen it, it's out there. Get it.
We tried to stay away from movies because we figured that was its own list.
That's its own list. Yeah.
So moving up to
Number 3.
Number 3, Gary Come Home from SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, that song.
Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up, and now you're gone.
Basically, SpongeBob forgets to feed Gary for a week, and Gary leaves.
Gary runs away.
Yeah.
Goes look someplace else.
He finds a snail trail basically leading away from it, and I'm trying to remember, who did he end up with? He ends up with Patrick.
Yeah.
And but for the long, so SpongeBob is going around putting up missing posters and things like that, and there's this horrible song that plays about, and I know that I did wrong, and it's just
heartbreaking to see SpongeBob go through all these little points of sadness and heartbreak, and then to know that Gary was just next door.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it has a happy ending.
Yeah.
But everything leading up to that happy ending is just absolutely horrendously painful.
Number what are we at? Number 2. The Life of Brian from Family Guy.
Yes. Now, of course, this ended up being kind of retconned, I think, in the next episode, or like 2 episodes later.
2 or 3 episodes later, yeah.
But for such just a silly slapstick show as Family Guy, the scene in question, I mean, it
just
brought
rough.
tears.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was rough.
And it was basically Brian gets hit by a car, and
dies.
So of course they take him in, and they come out and say that there's no hope here, and so everyone goes in to say goodbye to him, and it's just painful.
It was a rough episode.
Yeah.
Again, they do retcon it, but Brian goes on to express his love for the family, thank him for the wonderful life, and then he rolls his eyes back and he's gone. And that was the episode, and there was a lot of talk. Why was it done that way? Why was it?
I mean, everybody called it just kind of a ploy to to have that episode that'll get fans in and everything, but it was planned to be kind of just a one-off episode, kind of. I don't want to say joke, but I mean they did bring it back like in the next episode or the episode after that with it, but still. Nonetheless, whether it was a ploy or not, that episode was painful.
And no list of our childhood's saddest moments could ever top these next 2. And they're lumped together.
These together, yeah.
The death of Mr. Hooper from Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' final episode.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Rogers' final episode, of course, was heartbreaking simply because, that show went on for 35 years.
Yeah, he was well into 2000s.
Yeah, it was like 2004?
2003, 2004, yeah.
And the only reason he stopped when he did was because he had developed cancer and simply couldn't continue doing the show. But his final goodbye, he gave one of the most heartfelt goodbyes, and I mean, if you've ever seen a single episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I mean, we will always be your neighbor.
Yes.
But
and the show actually was aired in reruns for several years because he actually passed away in 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And I got to meet Mr. McFeely once.
Did you?
Yeah. In hotel makeup. It's actually it's quite the amusing picture. But yes, nothing tops the Sesame Street with the death of
Mr. Hooper. Big Bird basically draws a picture of all his friends. And if you've ever watched Sesame Street,
Now this is going all the way back
This
to
is
1980.
this is going back to before we were in high school, before we even ever met.
I think I was like 4 or 5 years old
Yeah.
when this happened.
Mr. Hooper's store is the cornerstone of Sesame Street. It was the you go have a milkshake and go pick up some groceries. It was the corner store. It was the linchpin.
Yeah.
Big Bird drew a picture of all his friends, and there was Mr. Hooper, and he wanted to show him, but
So he
couldn't.
hands out everybody else's, and he's like, "Oh well, Mr. Hooper is, where's he at?" And they're like, "Well, we told you he died.
When's he going to come back? He's
not coming back. Well, why not?" And Big Bird actually kind of goes through this whole thing. Basically, the way that the episode kind of came to be, when the actor passed away, they actually brought in several child psychologists and things to see what how do we approach this, and they decided to write the episode looking at death from a child's eyes. And Big Bird very much plays that part, where he doesn't understand, and he even kind of goes through a period where he thinks that Mr. Hooper went away because of something that he did.
Yeah.
He blames himself, and I think even a few episodes later, it gets brought up again. Even so, I mean, it wasn't a quick fix. It wasn't something that just goes away at the end of an episode with a happy ending. I mean, it had long lasting.
I really think they dealt with it very well.
Very
looking back at it as an adult, if I can find the video and watch it, you can now see that Big Bird goes through these stages of grief like an adult does, and you can make a connection to how as a child you would, what's my fault? He went away because of me, or yeah, he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back tomorrow. He's just sick. But DeLucy Singer was the executive producer during that time, and she said it was very honest and straightforward, and they dealt with the issue at very head on as I think they had to.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and then they did it extremely tastefully and extremely well.
Yep.
But again, these are just some of our picks here. That I mean, there's tons more that we could go into that we're just simply for time that we're leaving it at those 10. But what's one of yours that sticks out? What's one that impacted you growing up?
Put it down in the comments.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Make sure you guys check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Keep doing the YouTubes. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you click that bell notification. We are on the push to 300 subscribers.
That's right. And as long as you're checking out the social media, right there. Check us out on
That came from a
Facebook.
different direction. Wow.
I change it up every once in a while. Check us out on Facebook to get yourself a The Show t-shirt. You can get a short sleeve shirt for $20, a long sleeve shirt for $22. You can go ahead and pick up one out of our hoodies for $25. Just send us a private message on our Facebook letting us know what colors you would like as color of the text of the shirt and color of the shirt itself, and what size you need. We'll get that process started for you.
Tomorrow's our favorite day of the week, so you know what that is. We hope to see you back here.
Indeed. Bye-bye.
It's time for your Russian clip of the day.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you liked what you see, go ahead and click on our faces to go ahead and subscribe to get all of our Monday through Friday stuff.
Indeed, and here's a couple of links down below that you can follow to watch more shows like it. Tons of great content right here at Scallywag Productions. We'll see you tomorrow.